The Patriots were a relatively boring team this year, and everyone kind of expected to be where they were going to be, and everything ended up going out well. However, I did want to talk more or less about the Jerod Mayo and Mike Vrabel situation. Before I get into Jerod Mayo, I did want to say this. To all the people that were getting on his ass, I do want to say this. It is incredibly hard to win NFL games at this level, and it's especially hard to coach win games. And simply put, Patriots, they won a couple. They weren't the greatest team, and granted, they had a couple of misfortunes, but they went 4-13. It's not like Jerod Mayo was horrible, deplorable. I could still name a couple of coaches that were worse than him. But you know what? He won 4 NFL games for a guy who wasn't ready, and I got to give him respect to that. Beating the Jets, beating the Bears, beating the Bengals, beating the Bills, he won meaningful games. Maybe the Bills game wasn't that meaningful for, playoff positioning, but still. The whole thing is, Jerod Mayo wasn't the choice, but I don't think it's really fair for everyone to knock on him and, make fun of him for it. Because simply put, what would you do if you're in his situation where it was in your contract, hey, you got to be the successor to one of the greatest coaches of all time? Pretty hard. Regardless, Jerod Mayo's out and Mike Vrabel's in. Now, what does Mike Vrabel bring to the franchise? Well, he brings a relatively new face. He was coached by Belichick, and granted, people still think he is a decent coach. One of those people being me. I still think he got fired over a power struggle in the Titans. Regardless, it is kind of interesting to see what Mike Vrabel's going to do. I think he brings a unique identity back to that team that Belichick just hadn't had in a while. But we also have to keep in mind, too, who is he going to bring in? A lot of his staff left when it came to him being fired in Tennessee. So I wonder who he's going to bring in. Not only that, too, but we also have to keep in mind as well that Mike Vrabel is coming off a brief stint where he wasn't coaching. And we don't know how many Bruce Arians are out there where you can just not coach for a couple of years and then come back and just pick things back up. Regardless, though, the Patriots are in an interesting position with Drake May and their entire coaching staff where, they're playing with house money next year. If you arguably have one of the better choices at wide receiver, who knows? Maybe the Jaguars get a little weird and they don't pick, not Jaguars, maybe the Titans get a little bit weird and they don't get Travis Hunter. Maybe they pick quarterback. Maybe that leads a path to the Patriots to get Travis Hunter. Or maybe they get the Arizona wide receiver. Basically, all that needs to be said is that the Patriots might not be all dead. And simply put, this season, as expected as it is, I don't think it's really fair to clown people for it. After all, like I said, winning an NFL game takes a lot and a lot of effort. And I think, if anything, it shows that maybe the Patriots are what the Jets probably should be by now with, the exciting quarterback and, the hope for a future. But again, all that comes down to if Vrabel still got it. And if Vrabel still has it, maybe after a couple of drafts, or hell, maybe even after this draft, they might have a shot. But until then, I guess we'll just have to see what goes on in Patriot land for a little bit. Until then, though, God, Jerod Mayo was fucking awful. He needs time in the oven. That man came out. That if we're making like a baking reference here, that shit's not even cookie dough. That shit is the stuff that's pre-cookie dough. That shit isn't even mixed the way he coached.